What's going on, SE Nation? Welcome back to another quarantine video. A big part of sales engineering in general is just asking questions, and that's what we're going to talk about today in the context of a discovery call. Sales engineers, like myself and others, are curious human beings by nature. We want to learn and understand a problem and figure out how to solve it. But we're not lawyers, we're not journalists, we're not taught to ask questions. Most of the things that we learn come from working hands-on and just reading documentation. Basically, we were told to go figure it out. Then we become sales engineers and we need to learn to ask questions. So we go onto the customer site, or right now, no customer visits. Everything's through online conferencing. And we have to ask our customers a whole bunch of questions. The problem is not all questions are created equal. That's why beginner engineers, sales engineers, from what I've seen, tend to ask a lot of yes or no questions. Do you need this? Do you do that? Sooner or later, someone will tell them that open-ended questions are better. How do you do this today? Why are you looking at a solution? But even these types of questions, the open-ended questions, are not all created equal. The way I see them, they're divided into two categories of questions. And I know some of you may have more than two categories of questions. It's just the way I see them. Or at least I see them by two main categories of questions, or types of questions, and one that should be avoided at all costs. I'm going to start with the one that we should avoid at all costs, and this should not be a surprise to anybody. But this class of questions is called the useless questions. Yes, that is a category. There are questions that will add no value to the conversation, and even worse, could confuse the customer even more. For example, this is a conversation that could be heard, maybe you've heard it yourselves. SE. Do you prefer a Windows-based system or a Linux-based system? I prefer a Windows-based system, and that's the customer. Do you offer that? Nope. Or the customer would say, why, do you support both? And nope. So why did we even ask that question? When Ford started selling cars, way back when, they only offered their cars in black. Now imagine going to the car dealer and the seller would ask you, which color do you want your car to be? And you'd be all excited, I want pink. I'm not judging. It's like, nope, we only have black. Then why did you offer that different colors? Why did you ask that question? That is a useless question that only pisses off the customer a little bit and doesn't bring you closer to understanding what they need in terms of solutions. Alright, I talked a little bit too much about the useless types of questions. If you want more information, comment below. Let me know that this is a topic that you want to explore more. But let's talk about the other two different types of questions. The first one I'd like to talk about is the informational question. At this point, you're just collecting data. You want to understand more about their situation. Why are they looking for a new solution? What's the problem? What pushed them to look for you? What their current system looks like? How does their environment operate today? These questions are more targeted at understanding their situation, where they are as human beings, employees, and understand what their headspace is. Are they looking for something urgently? Are they desperate to find a new solution? What's happening in their world today that they're talking to you? Most SEs I know have that down. They are genuinely curious about the customer situation and they want to help to make it better. However, that is usually not enough, in my opinion. SEs need to start building their case for their solution from the first time they meet the customer. And I'm not saying present the solution right there, but I'm saying you need to build the case for it so that they would want to see your demo or your presentation, whatever it is that you guys do moving forward. Why is that? Well, it's the same reason TV shows end with cliffhangers. That's why my wife kept watching Game of Thrones after episode 1. And if anyone's seen the Game of Thrones episode 1, you know what happens. Even though she hated the show. You want your customers to want you to come back and do the demo. You want them to be interested in what you have to offer. You just came in and spent half hour of their time asking them questions. Why would they want to spend another half hour looking at your solutions? If they're in a hurry and you didn't figure that out, they might go with a competitor. They have no compelling reason to wait for you to come and do your demo. Or if there's no compelling reason, they might just do nothing and say, no thank you, we don't want to take another meeting with you. Even if you have it scheduled, they might cancel it on you. It happens. Or they might not hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. That's so cheesy. So how do you do that? Well, you use the second type of questions that I think about, which are guiding questions. You might have heard the saying that good lawyers don't ask a question unless they already know the answer to. well, as sales engineers, we're going to have to turn into good lawyers or great lawyers. The point of the guiding question is to get the customer interested in your solution and possibly add FUD to your competitor's solution. For those of you who don't know, FUD is fear, uncertainty, doubt. And you don't do it by telling the customer, oh, the competitor's product is crap, because that never works. But if you ask the right questions, you get their brain spinning and thinking about the weaknesses of your competitors. So if you know that your product does something that the competitors cannot do, or at least if you have customer testimonial that they picked your product because of this that the competitor doesn't have, then you can use that as part of the questions. A few of my customers have purchased our product solely for the capability of doing X. How important is this capability in your opinion? Or how do you see yourself using that capability? Keep in mind that you have to know, or at least have a feeling, an educated feeling, I guess, that the customer would want that specific feature or solution that you're offering. And if this is truly a section of your solution that is important to your customer, the next time they meet with a competitor, they're going to ask him about, or her, about that solution, about that specific feature that is so important to them that the customer or the competitor would either not be able to answer or will not give a convincing answer. And that is what gives you the edge. I also love vision building questions, which are also, I combine them as part of the guiding questions. Vision building questions allow the customer to see themselves using your product or solution to solve their problem. It elicits a feeling, and that's when they start selling it to themselves. Here's a question that I like to ask. Throughout the discussion, we're talking about what they need and what they don't need. Mr. Customer, throughout this conversation, we've been talking about this problem that you're having and the best way to solve it. Now, if our product can do this for you, like can solve the problem for you, how would that affect your day-to-day life? So what I'm doing here is I'm doing two things. First thing I'm doing is enabling the customer to envision themselves using my product to solve their problems, as I mentioned earlier. The second thing I'm doing is understanding how important this is for them. So if I tell them, hey, Mr. Customer, our platform or our product allows you to speed up test execution by X%. How does that help you? And the response is, well, it doesn't. Then I really went down the wrong rabbit hole at that point. So I understand that is not important anymore, and I have to shift gears and try to find what's important, and I really have to do a proper discovery at that point and recollect the information that I got initially. And if they can envision themselves using your product and it solves their problems and they're happy about it, now it's up to you to prove what you just said, to put your money where your mouth is and show them that your solution will actually solve the problem. Here's my question to you guys. Have you ever been asked a question that made you think about using a product or like buying a house or buying a car? What question elicited that emotion from you? Because if it elicited that emotion from you, it could probably elicit the same emotion from somebody else. If you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe. If you think this will be useful for anybody else, make sure to share that with them, and maybe it'll help them out in one way, shape, or form. Until next time, see ya.